Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. In our first segment, we're focusing on Palestine, but specifically in South Africa and in the context of Palestinian land being sold to people in South Africa in the city of Cape Town. And so there was a protest that was held in Sea Point specifically. And on today's show, we have two special guests. We have Arshad Samodien from Youth for Al-Quds, as well as Uzair Mohamed, who's also from Youth for Al-Quds. Assalamu alaikum, guys, and welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good to be here.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shukran for having us.
That's great. So Arshad, I'll start with you. This notion of Palestinian land being sold to South Africans or people residing in Cape Town obviously I think, invokes a deeply problematic notion with everybody, because we understand that slowly and surely on the other side of the world, Palestinian land is being taken. But I think it hits home when there is this notion that it's being sold right on our doorstep. What is Youth for Al-Quds' opinion on that?
Bismillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all the viewers and listeners. I think many will remember that clip that went viral of Muna Al-Kurd from the Sheikh Al-Jarrah area in Jerusalem in Al-Quds, and we had her here in Cape Town 3 years ago. But that clip that went viral on the internet of that American Zionist Yaakov that had already taken over half of their house, and then she tells him, then he tells her that if I don't steal your house, someone else is going to steal your house. Almost like, it's going to happen whether it's me today or somebody else tomorrow. That is a good backdrop or background to understand what has been happening for the last 75 years and a little bit more in Palestine. So when Cape Townians and South Africans saw the advert a few days ago of this Alia Expo happening in Cape Town, and there was an event in Johannesburg over the weekend, some could be mistakenly thinking that it's a new phenomenon, that they just that this is something new that they are doing, land in Palestine to willing Jews or Zionists wanting to come to the occupied state of Palestine. But in fact, this is just one of the main tricks up their sleeve to displace Palestinians more, to steal their land more and their homes, in a long wave of similar illegal moves that they've been doing for a long time. The other very important point that is, and every day I think people all over the world is uncovering the true face of Zionism and Zionist Israel more and more and more. And the other point that is being immediately uncovered regarding this Aliyah, or law of return for any Jew or Jewish descendant at any time to the occupied land, is that it is a cover for recruitment into the IDF, or the IOF as we call it. It is a big cover. I've just been reading up this morning, and all of the comments by American Jewish people that is signing up for Aliyah is saying that it is Zionism that is pushing them. It's not because they are Jewish that they want to go there, but it's the idea of Zionism that is making them decide to move. And immediately they have to. It's part of the contract. That immediately they have to enter into the military in different forms and military training. So it is a big cover. It is a big cover for recruitment into the IDF and Israeli occupation forces, which actually also tells us and shows us that this is a complete militarized and military society and colonial outpost.
So obviously, when we look at what the agenda is, it seems that the agenda is quite holistic, right? And it's land on the one side, it's recruitment on the other side, it's making sure that the ideology of Zionism takes root for every young Jewish person. But Youth for Al-Quds obviously has been quite a prominent proponent in terms of protesting these types of things. What was the motivation specifically in the city of Cape Town to raise your voice on this particularly? Arshad, I'll start with you, and then we'll pivot to Uzair.
Yeah, so the Youth for Al-Quds movement globally, one of the aims or the objectives of the Youth for Al-Quds movement globally is to highlight the reality of what is going on, what's happening to Palestinians in their daily lives in the city of Jerusalem and all of Palestine by extension. So this was then important for us to expose the Zionist plans right here in our own city of Cape Town, trying to do this despicable act of selling stolen land illegally to Zionists that want to possibly buy it up and go and live on in homes or on land that Palestinians might have just been killed a few days ago, or imprisoned a few years ago, or displaced a few years before that. So it falls right into the objectives of the Youth for Al-Quds.
Uzair, from your side, so you were obviously on the ground at the protest. What was it like? Was there any sort of antagonism? We usually know that these type of protests, especially when you take it to the Zionists, can at times become quite confrontational. So what was your experience like on the ground?
So we had a few members of Youth for Al-Quds rush over there because we were working with a few other organizations as well. And some of those organizations are predominantly women. So two or three or four of Youth for Al-Quds members rushed over there as fast as we could, because we knew that Zionists are normally hostile towards females. So when we rushed over there, we got there, we were standing there, we were peacefully protesting, like we were standing on the pavement, and we were standing a bit on the side of the road where the cars were parked, but not in the road, right? And we had a few people coming over trying to, swerve the car towards our direction and show middle finger, and of course stop and try to film us. And we filmed them back. We filmed all the number plates. We got all the number plates. We even had people saying proudly on camera that, yes, we are Zionists and we are here. I've spotted a few guys from SAUJS, which is a campaign on UCT. They at the Alia Expo. So all these Zionist organizations work together. And as we were standing there, I found out that they actually have their own security here within C Point called CSO. Their founder was an ex-IDF member, and this has been, I can say a comrade from SAJFP, South African Jews for Palestine, has confirmed this with myself. So extreme hostility was shown towards women and some men. A Youth for Al-Quds member almost got knocked over as well. In the same breath, we were standing on the pavement. A Zionist actually came down with his car and almost knocked a female over. She managed to get away in time, but the poster that she was holding was not. And certain parts of her, how can I say, side of her arm or side of her body, right? So the law has seen this. We asked the law, what are you going to do? The law did nothing. The traffic cop who was in the road has done nothing. And he saw this. He literally saw this at the time it happened. And some protesters went over to knock on his window and tried to stop him, but he just drove off like a mad animal. So there was lots and lots of extreme hostility. I'm shocked to actually see how our C Point has become a little Tel Aviv. And I definitely think that it's time for us to focus our attention to C Point and areas like Clifton, Mohamed, and Uzair. And I think that it's time for us to focus our attention to C Point and areas like Clifton, Mohamed, and Uzair. And I think that it's time for us to focus our attention to C Point and areas like Clifton, Mohamed, and Uzair. And I think that it's time for us to focus our attention to C Point and areas like Clifton, Mohamed, and Uzair. and maybe sometimes Claremont and Oak Kaapseweg, because there's more and more Zionists coming into Cape Town, and more we are seeing the hostility that is coming into our homeland that we fought for so hard for.
So I think there was a bit of a conversation about the fact that they didn't initially publish the details of where the event was going to take place. How did Youth Al-Quds find out where the event was going to take place? And I think we've seen this to be the strategy of the Zionists. They publish amongst themselves the event because they do not want these types of sort of protests in their face. They don't want people to be exposed to a different narrative. So just in terms of your own process, in terms of getting the location, how did that happen?
Okay, so basically, like I said, we work with a few other organizations, because in order to register for this event, you actually need to put in your ID number and they do a background search on your name. So, of course, myself, with my name being Uzair Mohamed, I can't actually register, otherwise it would raise flags. So we had certain amount of people, like from our Jewish comrades within SAJFP, we had them register. And we were waiting. They never released the venue a day before the time. They actually released the venue only about, let's say, an hour before the time. And we kept on waiting. We kept on driving around. We kept on saying, okay, could it be at the Jewish Museum, the Holocaust Museum? Could it be maybe at the synagogue? No, but it was actually in Seapoint. And they received info because they had to message this one woman. When they do register, they get certain information, right? Like contact numbers for WhatsApp and certain things like that. So they managed to get through this woman called Sarah. And apologies for this. And then they got in hold of Sarah, they got hold of Sarah, and then from that, Sarah has told them that the venue will be at the Hebrew congregation. But what they have done, and I would like to mention, is that they did it on the same place as a bar mitzvah. So the same venue as a bar mitzvah. And of course, they would try to, mix things up and say that we attacked the Jews on the bar mitzvah, or we protested outside the bar mitzvah, or something like that. But that wasn't the case. We actually came there for the ILA Expo. And I'd like to mention one thing as well, that the IDF member Golan Vach, we have his picture. We saw him there at the protest. He was in and out of the ILA Expo. And like in and out when I mean to his hotel and the expo, they were in the same road. And it's saddened to see that the IDF member has been doing this. So when Brother Arshad mentions about the, it's forced to take recruitment, because we do know that to become a Israeli citizenship, you have to join the army, right? So to see Golan Vach there and just align it with what Brother Arshad said, we cannot allow that. We cannot allow that, because the IDF members walking freely here in Cape Town and in Johannesburg.
Arshad, from your side, I think you highlighted a very valid point when you spoke about the fact that they are exporting Zionism across the world. They're trying to make Cape Town an outpost for their colonial project. The Alia Expo obviously is one aspect of it. We know that there are various schools in the city of Cape Town specifically, but also across the country, that has a specific agenda. They teach Zionism in a particular way. How do we combat this? Because protesting and raising awareness is one aspect, but how do we actually bridge the divide so that young Jewish people that grow up can actually break free from the shackles of what they're being told? Because very often that is the worldview, the only worldview that they're allowed to be exposed to. So how do we break that barrier and get into that spaces? Because I think, and Brother Uzair mentioned this in terms of just the South African Jews for Palestine, lots of young people that have broken free from that kind of mentality. What else do you think we can do to help facilitate that process? Because it is on this side of the spectrum that we need to push the information so that they can break free, from the stronghold of Zionism over them.
Yeah. That is one of the big challenges, and I think it is one of the ways is discussion. It is openness. It is exposure. what is happening almost organically worldwide at the moment. The Zionist project has always tried to do their occupation and their oppression under cloak and dagger and smoke and mirrors, but that is no longer the case. Everything is being exposed all over the world. A few days ago, when we attended the panel talks and with Professor Ilan Pape, the Israeli historian, also spoke, and he's one of the outstanding critics of the Israeli oppression. And so at the end of it, one lady made a comment, and she said, I'm surprised that the hall is not completely full. And people from my community, she was saying that people from my community is not getting the messages of the protests and the lectures like this. So I think we should do more. We should do more with every event, with every picket, with every lecture, in spreading the message, in spreading the truth, and going beyond apartheid. I mean, because we come, and that is why we recognize it, so blatantly, and that is why South Africa is being lauded for taking them to the ICJ. Because of our lived experience, but also apartheid boxed us. And I think as a colored, I must only speak to colored people, and an Indian must only live in an Indian area, and a white can only have white friends, and a black must go to a black school. But no, as we as South Africans, as we are still ourselves, I mean, at different levels of unshackling ourselves from the yoke and from the burdens of apartheid. One of the ways now is to take that step over your border and speak to people that you don't normally speak to. Send a message to somebody that you don't normally, outside of your community. So this is a challenge to myself and to everyone out there. And only good can come from it. I mean, in terms of so many things. I mean, even just in understanding the other and nation building and even all the good things. And it will also help, like you said, those that have been cocooned into only seeing one narrative, to be able to hopefully see and open their eyes to what is really happening, inshallah.
Inshallah. We're going to an ad break, and then we'll be back with our guests in the next few minutes.
Spread the love with Sunshine D margarine, the perfect addition to your seri table for spreading, baking, and cooking. Sunshine D is rich in essential vitamin A, E, and D, and is the tastiest way to get their day or night started. Sunshine D. Tastes nice, no lies.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic, Sharia, and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings, from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
Alhamdulillah. Muslims in South Africa finally have access to a fully Sharia-compliant emergency medical takaful and wellness product. As an industry first, Emergivac Sharia offers up to 575,000 Rand emergency medical cover at a private hospital for you and your family. Plus, you receive 24-hour access to private ambulance evacuation, 24-hour armed response services, roadside home, and even appliance assistance services. Emergivac Sharia offers you and your family priceless emergency medical cover at a fraction of the cost of traditional private healthcare. Simply download the Emergivac app and register online, or SMS Sharia to 40777. Emergivac Sharia, for when serious emergencies require seriously fast response.
Southern Africa Dawah Network is a non non-profit organization striving to uplift the disadvantaged and empowering through education and dawah. Donate to the SADN centers, the MA Motala Islamic Center, as well as our Islamic centers in Amoti, Imtalumi, Botshabelo and Castile. Donate your zakat and lillah today. Contact Farooq Sheikh 076 321 0650, Yusuf Mohammedi 072 259 3457, or the SADN head office 031 304 8000. Our account, Standard Bank, account number 050 856 294 for your zakat, or 050 879 790 for your lillah. Dawah through education, education through dawah, the Southern Africa Dawah Network.
Are you looking for a cross-border road transport company that is committed in achieving high safety standards, who is fast and efficient, and also excellent customer service? Gardi Global specializes in cross-border transport from South Africa to Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Malawi. Gardi Global, situated at 10 Daniel Road, Benrose, Johannesburg. For inquiries, contact our trained staff on 011 614 3108 or email info@gardiglobal.co.za. Safe long haul into Africa is our business. Gardi Global Transport.
Abu Hurairah narrated that he heard the Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, say, "In black seed there is a healing for every disease except death." This Ramadan, experience the health benefits of this ancient blessed seed by using the Tib Black Seed range. Black seed assists the body to boost immunity, regulate blood sugar levels, reduce inflammation, and act as a potent antioxidant. Experience a holistic approach to health by introducing the Tib Black Seed range into your Ramadan routine. Available in capsules, pure cold-pressed oil, and a vapor rub. Trust Tib Health Sciences for quality black seed products. For more information, visit blackseed.co.za. Available at leading pharmacies.
The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The best of you are those who feed others." This Ramadan, join Penny Appeal South Africa in changing lives through Feed Our World. Provide food packs, hot meals, and sustainable food gardens. Make it count. Visit www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. We're with Youth for Al-Quds and we're talking about the Alia conference, which is one of several things that have been happening in the city of Cape Town just with regards to either the selling of Palestinian land, the recruitment of South Africans into the IDF, and just the entrenchment of the Zionist ideology. So we have with us Arshad Samodien as well as Uzair Mohamed. Uzair, I'm coming to you for one last question. From your side, what do you think in terms of these types of protests? What do you think, what else could we do to be able to put a stop to them? Because if, for example, the selling of Palestinian land is, illegal internationally, is there some way or form in which we can actually stop this from a legal process? That's the one side. And then on the other side, from our protesting perspective, is how do we step up our game to be able to really take the battle to them?
Okay. So on your first point of how do we apply basically more pressure onto protests or events like this, I honestly think that we would need to bring all the evidence to our government as our national government, as our national government has made a statement of they would be prosecuting all IDF members or such events that could possibly happen within South Africa. We would possibly have to also raise the awareness and give programs to our youth to make them understand that in our country that we fought for freedom. We cannot allow certain things like this to happen, of where expeditions are happening where people can join a foreign military, or people can come buy land in our country, or people can do whatever they want to in our country. We cannot allow that. We are a country with morals and values. And of course, we are not just hot breath like most of the Arab countries. You know what I mean? So, of course, how we would intensify our protest is, of course, gathering the youth. I mean, I myself, I'm youth. I'm in my 20s. So I feel that we would need to engage more with the youth, as the youth also has more time, because what they are doing and what the Zionists are doing here in Cape Town is that they are having events at odd hours in the week, or odd hours, at times. So, for instance, they stand at Parliament while we are busy on a Juma on Friday. You know what I mean? So this what happened on Thursday, right? This Alia Expo. We all had to drop whatever we were doing and just leave. Some of us had to leave work. Some of us had to leave school. Some of us had to, just drop everything of what we were doing and rush straight to Sea Point. So what I can say to is, or what I can possibly try to do, or what we as Youth for Al-Quds as a whole will try to do, is enlighten the youth and try to mobilize the youth. For we do know in apartheid era, it was the youth, the Soweto uprising that caused the uproar. So with the youth, I mean, most of us, we are all getting, to a mature age where we can't really have that fire. But it is for the youth now to step up and stand against the oppression, stand against the Zionist regime, and basically not allow this type of Alia expos, because I find it absolutely appalling that we are allowing this in South Africa.
Arshad, one last question to yourself. Obviously, the world has woken up to the reality of what is happening in Gaza, but Palestine just generally. I think Gaza serves as an education component to people that have been ignorant about the broader Palestinian struggle. And with that, then comes a greater interfaith component. So as Youth for Al-Quds, my question is how do we build that kind of consensus that we had in apartheid, for example, where we brought together, or people were brought together from all faith groups, united under a banner of ending apartheid. If we look at it from a purely secular perspective, the reality is that it is a colonial outpost. It is an apartheid regime. There is an occupation taking place. And that is something that can resonate with any person, irrespective of their religious beliefs. And so my question to you, Al-Quds, is how do we build that broader consensus just on an interfaith perspective in South Africa, when we can lean on our own experience?
We know that apartheid South Africa abused a biblical text to justify the oppression and apartheid of the citizens of South Africa. Likewise, the Zionists are abusing the Jewish texts, or have abused and continue to perverse the texts to justify what they are doing to the Palestinians on their own land. On the weekend, the Youth for Al-Quds joined a street buka in Pontieville here on the Cape Flats, and we gave an address to people, and it was people of all faiths of the community was there. And when we were done, a pastor came up to me and he said, I'm a pastor, and I just want to say, keep up what you are doing, continue speaking the truth, continue speaking what you are doing. So I think it is for us, as the Palestinians have not tired for 75 years. They are still holding onto the keys. They are old ladies or old women, grandmothers who have, many of them or some have died, have handed over those keys, that have been living in the diaspora in neighboring Arab countries or different parts of the world. These people have not tired of working for and praying for the return to their homeland. Those kids in the Gaza and mothers that are going through the worst form of torture and evil, they are not tired to stand up from the rubble and say this is all in defense of our homeland. Similarly, we need to be a strong support right next to them, beside them, and behind them, amplify their voice, So this is actually, the world is witnessing, we believe, the last phase, the last part of this Israeli apartheid regime. It won't take long, whether it's days, months, a few years, until this apartheid, illegal, illegitimate state will fall, and Palestine and the world will be in a better place for people of all faiths. So I say we need to increase. Like Cape Town has always been a place where I remember. In fact, I lived in my early years in Pontyville, in the same area in Pontyville, and I remember my mother, Allah yarhamha, Allah grant her high place in Jannah, at night, if she made some warm custard, we had to go and take a little custard to Auntie Alice next to us to the right, and Auntie Edna to our left, and then Auntie Amina 3 days or 3 houses away. And 30 years later, if I visit Pontyville, those who are alive still remind me of that, how we used to do that. So I think we need to increase and revive and do what Cape Townians have been doing for so long, and living the interfaith, living the Islamic way, which is living the best with everyone around you, spreading this beautiful Islamic message to everyone from a Muslim point of view. We have, I think, the perfect recipe for interfaith, and via this we can also spread the truth and help the Palestinians in their just cause like this.
That was Arshad Samodien, as well as Uzair Mohamed from Youth for Al-Quds, who have joined us this morning to unpack, on the one side, the selling of Palestinian land in South Africa, but just also the broader fight against Zionism on our shores and in our communities. Shukran so much, both of you guys, and we hope to have you back in the future, inshallah.
Ameen. Jazakumullah khair. Shukran fi amanillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.